What's your first thought when oceans come to mind? The crystal blue waters, the beautiful coral reefs, or all the beautiful marine life that lives in it? Throughout these years, these beautiful things have become damaged by human waste. I'll go over how toxic waste has harmed marine life and human health, along with how unnatural occurrences have become more frequent. First, I'll tell you about how the amount of waste dumped into the oceans has impacted marine life to an extreme extent. According to Lauren Roman, Kumar Schuler, Chris Wilcox, and Britta Denise Hardesty, in an article entitled "Plastic Pollution is Killing Marine Megafauna, but How Do We Prioritize the Policies to Reduce Mortality?" When an animal consumes a piece of toxic waste, it harms their normal bodily, what happens within their body. For example, dolphins commonly consume plastic bags and any kind of packaging, which leads to obstruction to their gastric system, and more often than not, that leads to death. Another example of this is within sea turtles. They often ingest fishing lines and lures and anything that can block or entangle their intestines, which also leads to death. In an article entitled "Microplastics Present Pollution Puzzle" by Ala Katznelson, microscopic pieces of plastic also negatively affect the life of marine animals. Mark Brown used 3 washing machines and washed 3 different kinds of synthetic material that you would buy at the store every day. He found that there were 1,900 microfibers that would reach to the ocean that wouldn't be filtered within the normal systems before it gets to the ocean. Marine life also becomes sick due to the microplastics absorbing into their gills and into their bodies. It doesn't always have to be ingested. It can also be just absorbed through their skin. So next I'll explain how the increasing rate of pollution in the oceans can also harm human health as well, along with marine life health. According to Basal Biology, in an article entitled "Neurotoxicity in Marine Invertebrates," pollution is consumed by fish, which fish is then consumed by humans in seafood and any kind of restaurants or at home cooking. So basically, these diseases that are passed from fish to humans impair cellular homeostasis and gene expression within humans, so that creates a lot of newer diseases and newer impairments when these new humans are born, basically. Pesticides, heavy metals, and plastics that are consumed by the fish, they're also cooked in our foods, and then we consume those, which obviously is not good for our bodies or anything. It's not normal, it's not healthy. And so the article also mentioned, the authors in the article also mentioned that pesticides are a newer pollutant that are invading aquatic wildlife. So pesticides are becoming overused in agriculture to make our fruit and vegetables bigger and more efficient. So it's leading to the overflow of those pesticides to go into the oceans, which then humans consume the fish that are breathing in those horrible pesticides. So in this article, the authors mention, indeed many molecular targets of pesticides are shared between pests and non-target species, including humans, which may lead to a variety of adverse health effects. And lastly in this speech, I want to discuss how natural environmental occurrences are becoming more frequent due to the negative impact that we're doing on our oceans. So according to Barbara Gorak and the other authors of this article, in the article entitled "Mercury in Marine and Oceanic Waters," mercury emissions in the ocean are constantly rising. And this is normal, not the constant rise, but mercury in the ocean is normal. However, when we do things like deforestation and wildfires to make more space for agriculture and building and everything, it makes the mercury contents in the ocean rise. So because of this constant rise, fewer species of fish can live in the open waters due to those high contents. So basically the fish aren't able to live freely where they're supposed to be. So in an article entitled "Red Tide, Human or Harmful Algae Blooms and Global Climate Change, Amy Dobson, Alan Feldman, Molly Nation, and Katie Lux explain how, while red tide is also a natural occurrence, it has become more frequent due to climate change, just like the rise in mercury contents. So red tide is a common thing in Florida right now, and so because our ocean temperatures are rising due to all of the human interaction and everything, the more algae is growing. So due to the more algae growing, it makes a harsher bloom when the algae blooms at the certain time of the year. So it kills more marine life, and again, it gets in our food and it gets in what we eat. So the authors also state that humans can become ill by breathing in the toxins or by eating contaminated shellfish. In addition, halves deplete the dissolved oxygen in the water, leading to the deaths of a wide variety of marine organisms. So in summary, the increase in toxic waste in our ocean harms every species of marine life and also harms humans, and the constant rise of bacteria harms humans as well. And lastly, natural occurrences are becoming more frequent due to the human activity and the negative impact we're having on our oceans. So since you guys have become more educated on the negative impact, we as humans have a responsibility to lessen our toxic waste and learn more about ways we can help our oceanic environment.